Okay, I couldn't get back to the house where I'd put that MALM bed together, but I'm at the Ikea store in Portland, Oregon, and wanted to explain a little bit on how these beds go because it's a modular system. And on the MALM, which is, I would say, probably the most popular model. Now, there's a few different variations of it here. Okay, you see a few different variations, but basically, there's you'd select the bed, right, and the size and color. And then I got the score of a mid-beam, which everything I've run into, putting a lot of those things together, that mid-beam's always the same. And maybe they talk about a selection, but it's almost always the same. And then they talk about the slat base, but what's in parentheses over here is use instead of a box spring. I don't know if you can see that in the video. Use instead of a box spring. So if I go over to another section of the store, I got to explain how these things actually come in different grades and different firmnesses. If you have an Ikea store nearby, you can actually test sit the beds, okay, like those people are doing. So they sell the different mattresses, okay, and it's just kind of a neat way they come packed, really compact. And then the box springs, and then if you actually no, this is a spring mattress. They have box springs separately right here. Box springs and foundations. The only, I mean, there's different reasons somebody would use a box spring, but what most people get are the slatted bed bases. But every once in a while, when we're putting one of the beds together, you don't use the slatted bases with a box spring. Okay, it's one or the other. And it used to be that these all came in a bundle, and I had to put them all together. Now, for the most part, they come kind of attached on this. Well, that's all put together on a display, but usually they're going to come attached to some sort of a ribbon type deal, and we just kind of unroll them and stick them in there. But that's why on some of the assemblies it goes a little bit different. That's because when people pick one of these out, they're getting different bases for the beds, and you kind of select from the bases, the box springs, or the mattresses. And probably the best way to see that is in one of the stores, but I realize not all cities have a store this size. Here in Portland, we do. But hopefully that'll answer some of the questions that were in the comments of the video I did on the assembly of the MALM bed base, because the MALM beds are probably the most popular ones, and even a lot of the others kind of go together the same way. And so that's how it goes. The brimness, like the MALM is really the popular one. That's the one that everybody buys. But the here is another illustration of how that goes. It's just that not all of them are going to get these. It's more cost effective to do it, and that's why a lot of people do it that way. And to specifically answer the one question about somebody who had one that was missing the center beam, okay, if you're setting up a relatively narrow bed like this one is, on the queen size, you gotta have it. On some of these, you almost don't need it. We can actually just do a little carpentry work and work in a 4x4 beam from Home Depot.